There's so much going on at the moment, especially we've had all the years of recession. I think it's had a knock-on effect of people's their personal lives, and teenagers have been hugely affected. And now we've got social media, and there's been so many different things that they've had to kind of deal with over the years.
Exactly. Social media, I think, has a lot to answer for, and the media, as well before that would have had a lot to answer for in terms of what parents think they have to live up to, and what teens as well then think they have to live up to. These false images and photoshopped images are much more in your face than they were certainly when I was a child, but I'm sure, there are plenty of people listening today.
It's quite scary.
It's quite scary. I don't envy the parents today, what they're facing with the influence of social media.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. We need to kind of be able to, arm our children, give them the right sort of ways. I think it's a huge responsibility for anyone really to take on the social media, and it can affect people. But for teenagers and for young people, it's all too much for them, and it can really get in on them. And there's all, it's very concerning. So what would you suggest, or where would you, what would you suggest for teenagers? Like, are they coming, you're dealing with a lot of families at the moment.
So I would suggest there's no harm in having a phone contract, and I think it depends on the age. I like to divide it up between junior cycle teenagers and then senior cycle teenagers, because it is there can be a big jump in terms of their mental ability to cope, and there's a lot of hormones going on. So the contract you might have in terms of phone access, what they can access, where they can access it, should be available to you as a parent. Like, they shouldn't be afraid to sit and be on their phones where you are. I don't like to see them hiding off in their room. Now, they are entitled to their privacy, but that's a very fine balance that parents have to have. So the idea of a phone contract, and you as a parent should have that phone contract too. So if you have a no phone at the dinner table rule in that contract, then you as a parent shouldn't have your phone at the table.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's...
Yeah, you have to, if you want to have
it,
you have to set the right example. If you're running into problems, then you reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. Your GP, any of the local services, you can either, pick up the phone, ask, I'm having problems. Don't be afraid to seek in yourself refer. You don't always have to run down to the GP to do it, but it is a good place to start if you are looking for somewhere to start. And I think I've gone a bit off topic there. So
no, I think we're going to be, this is the thing with the flow of a conversation. We're just going to go randomly from one area to another. But I think the thing is, it is a very fine line when it comes to our teenagers, what sort of responsibility we give them with the mobile phone. We're opening up basically a world that's completely, they're not able to handle really. It's difficult enough for anyone sometimes to be able to take it on board everything, but for teenagers, it's all basically, everything's in their face really.
It is in their face.
You've got, not only you have Facebook, you have other
Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram stories.
Pressure and bullying is all too much.
Absolutely, it can get too much. So having that conversation with them about it, knowing that there are apps out there. Now, I'm not the person to talk about technology or apps, but I do know there are people online, very good people that will give you the tools and recommend apps that parents can have and get in order to monitor their child's usage. Now, again, we have to define between where do you draw that line as they get a little bit older. Remember, their job is to become independent and to push against you and push against the system to become an independent adult. That's what we want at the end of the day. We want them to be protected no matter how old they are. My mother is still alive, and as a grandmother she'd still think I was her child. So you want them to be independent but protected, safe, happy and healthy. That's all we want for our children. At the end of the day, if you can do that, you've done a brilliant and amazing job. So don't get caught up in worrying too much about what you're doing or what you're not doing for your kids. As long as you can put your hand in your heart and
Absolutely. And what's the best thing we can do as parents really for our children? Really to be there for them and to try and kind of have that trust and that support from the very beginning, from the very stages, and if they're going through anything, it really just has to be a case of they come to us. Is there any particular set sort of, say somebody was being bullied in school, is there anything, what steps would you suggest really for that teenager in a school? A secondary school, but
for the teenager, don't stay silent. If it's a teenager, don't stay silent. There's usually now parent liaison officers in school for parents, but the career guidance teachers there, they have some counselling experience. Or go to a trusted teacher. Go to your parents. Don't, the parent, hopefully your communication and your lines of communication with your teen is open enough that if there was bullying going on, that the child will come to you first.